Ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday, August 23rd in the year of 23. It's material issues time. Welcome to episode number 117. Yes, 117 episodes now. I'm Mark Hershberger of Pop Detective Records. I'm over here on the East Coast, just outside of Philadelphia. Joining me every Wednesday, as he always does, my very good friend out on the West Coast, Mr. David Bash. David, I'm going to say it correctly. How are you this afternoon?
All right. You did it. I'm proud of you. Yeah, I'm doing well. As you know, we did IPO in San Diego last weekend.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun. We did it at Black Cat Bar. The Saturday night probably would have been better attended, except they sent out, the storm was coming, and they sent out alerts saying, don't travel anywhere. And it's like, what are you talking about? There's not going to be any rain until like 3 a.m. It says so right on the weather app. What do you mean don't travel anywhere? Well, people, of course, took heed to that, and a lot of them who would have come didn't. I mean, we still had a decent crowd, and all the bands showed up, including one from LA. I thought they're not going to come because then they have to go back, and turns out they were staying overnight. But Rena and I did decide to, instead of stay till the next morning, as we had reserved, we decided to leave right after the show. We went back to the hotel, packed our stuff. It was really eerie because the highway had, or the freeway, as they say out here, had virtually no cars on it for a while. It was like, wow.
This does happen.
Not that I was complaining. It only took us a little over 2 hours to get back from San Diego to Reseda, which, normally it would take like at least 3.5, maybe 4 with traffic. So that wasn't so bad. As far as other IPO goings on, we're going to be in Vancouver
coming up
for our 16th year starting on Thursday. Well, we'll be in Vancouver on Tuesday, Rena and I, but the festival starts on Thursday, goes through Saturday. Saturday happening to be my birthday, Saturday, September 2nd. I will be 65.
Wow.
Yes. And they're sending me all kinds of Medicare and Social Security stuff. And I haven't acted upon it, but I think I better. Anyway, September 2nd will be the final night of IPO Vancouver. Nice. I've had my birthday up there many times, so it's nothing new to me, but it's always fun. There's a lot of good people up there.
It's a beautiful area too.
Amazing city. If any of you haven't gone, you really should.
And what's the venue?
It's called Lana Lou's.
Lana Lou's, right?
And it's owned by a woman named Lana, who's in 2 bands, one of which will be playing IPO.
Nice.
She's great. Really cool space. We're looking forward to it. Let's see. Oh, watch check. Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I have not been able to take this off since I got it.
Yeah, it's your banana watch.
The the lemon, as they call it. It does look more like a banana. It's the Jungen's competition.
Nice.
It's the racing watch with the crown and the pushers on top.
On the top, yeah.
And
that's pretty cool.
Got that really cool oval shape. I love the yellow and black. I just love everything about this. So
it's just great that great that these companies send us this free watches and such.
Yeah, don't I wish? Oh my God, I wish they did.
And I think it was a nice choice of words you said when the storm was coming. And my reply there is that at least it wasn't an ice storm to preclude you from getting back to
That's true, because that does. Wouldn't you know that dovetails so nicely with the guest that we have?
Does it?
Yes, it does.
That was pretty clever of us. Yeah.
Yes, she was one of the main gladiators on the show American Gladiators, which was on 6 or 7 seasons.
I think it was 9 seasons.
9 seasons. Whoa.
Yeah, 9 seasons.
Yeah. Well, 9 seasons. She was on most of them.
Hey, Tim.
Good afternoon, Tim. And she was great, as were a lot of the other gladiators. She was a bodybuilder, still is, and right. No, I'm sure she heard that quite a bit, given the time period frame when she was on.
Yep, Ice
We
Ice
don't need,
Baby.
yeah. We don't need juvenile jokes. We'll make the juvenile jokes, not you.
That's
But
right.
anyway, she has she's still doing stuff. She has a podcast called Chillin' with Ice. I saw a couple of episodes; they were great.
And there's a new
And
Netflix documentary
oh yeah,
called Muscles and Mayhem, which is
right.
outstanding. You know, if you're an American Gladiator fan, or even if you weren't, it's a great behind the scenes look at this all too real program, which is the
Yes,
best
and
way
it
to live
was
it right
real
now.
for all you doubters out there.
Yes, indeed.
So,
Indeed.
without further ado, would you please give a huge material issues welcome to Ice, aka Lori Fetrick?
Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Do you know this song, Lori?
No.
It's a track called San Bernardino.
What?
Yeah.
Now,
Uh-oh.
no, I turned it off.
I'm back. Okay.
That,
You're back.
That song charted in right at the end of 1970 or the beginning of 1971. You were very young at the time, but it was called San Bernardino, and it wasn't any kind of a hit nationally. But I figured probably the stations in San Bernardino played it, but you never heard it, huh?
I never heard it the whole time I was growing up. I did not.
Well, there you go.
It's amazing. David.
And I'm from there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that's what I thought.
That's why we figured we'd give you a lead in with San Bernardino.
Thank you, but no, I don't know it.
David can pull music that you wouldn't believe out of his massive collection of
That's
vinyl and
funny.
CDs.
That's
but thank
awesome.
you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me on.
Big fan of American Gladiators, and let's get this right. It was on for 9 seasons. Or was
it was on
8?
for 9 seasons. I was on, I believe, 7 of the 9. I missed the first 13, and I missed one in the middle to where they just fired me. And
yeah, we heard about that.
Yeah.
They got rid of you. They brought you back.
Yep,
and
they brought me
throughout
back.
it all, which we'll get into. Throughout it all, they still didn't pay you very well. So
nope, they still did not.
No, we need to talk about that too, because as somebody who runs a music festival and who knows some of the insides of the music business, your business was not alone in that. Trust me.
I know. I've heard.
Unfortunately, entertainment is entertainment, and they,
yep,
they will rip you off if they can.
Oh, and they did.
Well, but just real briefly on that, today you have Chillin' with Ice, and you do have photos and things that are American Gladiator related. Is most of that behind you as far as what you can and cannot do, or does just nobody follow up and really?
I'm flying under the radar.
That's what I thought. Which I think.
However, the Chillin' with Ice actually, they do know about. So they haven't said anything. I mean, they're fine with it. I do have my Ice T-shirt store, which is IceTees shirts.com. And with that, I have a bunch of photographs, like American Gladiator photographs, personal photographs. I have a limited time American Gladiator T-shirt. I have a bunch of fun stuff in my store, and that's probably really going under the radar.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, it would cost them more to probably come after you for things that you're doing that it would be worth to even make And you know what? It's advertising Netflix and American Gladiators and everything about it. So
well, that was our thing all along. It was like, hey, we're trying to enhance the brand and keep the brand alive, to be quite honest with you, because by us doing things and keeping the name out there, it's keeping your brand alive.
Exactly.
So I don't know. They might have a different story.
So do you not do public appearances with the other?
Oh, dude, I am trying. Who do you know? I am like Right now, I mean, the public appearances that I'm going to be, where am I going to be? I'm going to be in Maryland, the beginning of November. There's like a toy show there. I have another appearance in St. Augustine in Florida, in February. There's a possibility that I'm going to be in Nashville the end of September. But yeah, I mean, I am so trying. I've got agents out there. I'm hitting people up. It's like, who wants me? So yeah.
Well, you think now is the time. The time is
Now
ripe
is the
right
time.
now
Yeah.
to get all over this and do what you can do. I'll have to see. Is it on your website? I know I wanted to put your website here for anybody who wants to know all things Lori. It's lorifetrick.com. It's going across the bottom of the screen. Will your appearances be on there as well?
The appearances that I'm doing right now are not on there right now, but I will actually have them. I mean, that website really just went up. I'm doing, public speaking appearances, meet and greet, anything to do with my podcast. So on that website, you'll actually have a lot of information about me to where if people are interested, they can actually, go on the website and inquire. But other than that, I need to put my appearances on my website where I'm going to be.
Are you looking to do autograph signings with the other gladiators?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. We're trying to. I mean, if I had the perfect world right now and I could find, let's say, a sponsor or someone that would do it, I would probably grab at least 4 to 5 of us and do like a small little tour around, maybe even just the bigger venues, Florida, New York, Chicago. Maybe go up into Canada area, Los Angeles, and do like a meet and greet, kind of like a Comic-Con type of thing. Do some question and answers, and then do autograph signing. So yeah, that would be the perfect scenario.
I know there's a lot of events like that throughout the Northeast here in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, where they're always bringing in iconic, whether it be WWE or athletes or whatever it may be around the event that they're doing. And I think, 4 or 5 gladiators would be wonderful.
I think what happened is the documentary dropped right in the middle of summer. And most of these events, as you know, they book their appearances 6 months to a year in advance.
Right.
So I think we're kind of like, I think what we're going to start seeing towards the end of this year is more and more people are going to start booking for the following year. And so therefore we'll get more contacts, more whatever. But David, if you know anyone, hook me up, baby. Anybody who hooks us up gets an appearance fee.
I'll do my best. I wanted to ask you this, and I'm sure you've been asked this many times. Mark mentioned WWE, and there's all the. I mean, I started watching wrestling in 1970, and even back then, I knew that there was a very strong fake element to it all. Do you get a lot of people just not believing that what you did was real?
I think while we were doing the show, while we were in the meat and potatoes of that show, there was a lot of people that were kind of skeptical. Like, is this real? Is this it? It was like, and we were fighting against the WWF at that point in time going, we're real. They're not, kind of thing. And so I think over time, obviously, that people come to realize that they're like, damn, that was real. They were doing some hard hits and, getting hit and giving hits. So I think over time.
And I think early on in the show, as they were just inventing these events, some of the props and the events manufactured they looked kind of cheesy, like they were going to fall.
Yeah.
They were going to fall over themselves. So if the structure was not going to stay, standing, it's like, well, this is not really that real. And then it got better as time went on. But getting back to the Gladiators touring today, I have an idea for you. So this is my idea.
Okay, let's do it.
We put together a large touring bus with 6
we thought
gladiators,
about it.
And we put
have
you
seriously
all
thought about it
on the bus, and we film this 24/7 and turn it into a Return of the American Gladiators on the bus show.
Oh, in a heartbeat. And you know what? I could grab all 6 of them and they would do it tomorrow. And it's funny because I know we're laughing about it, but it's a true story. We are actually seriously like, how can we pull this off? How can we pull this together?
Yeah.
As far as like, because I know there's smaller venues that will like maybe 2,600 people, and they're having like 3 to 4 MMA fighters. And these MMA fighters, I mean, I think more people know the Gladiators than some of the MMA fighters by name, but yet they're booking all these smaller venues. It's like, all right, come on, people, somebody's got to grab this and pull it together, and start doing these venues, because I saw the breakdown of these venues. And to be quite honest with you, I mean, the venue would take in something like $184,000 at a 2,600 seating venue. And I know the 3 MMA fighters were only getting paid 50 grand. Okay. Where's the extra? I mean, that $130,000 is going out to either sponsors. It's going to pay back sponsors, pay back producers, whatever it may be, there's a lot of money to be said that's on the table right now for somebody to grab a great idea and go, we need to do this.
But even if we had a guest on our show last year, Steve Young, who was a writer on the Letterman show. And he has a documentary called Bullets Over Broadway, which was very popular on Netflix. It's all about these industrial commercial music albums that no one ever heard of. And he goes out on a mini tour, and he just does small little theaters where he shows the documentary. He talks about all kinds of things. I could imagine even an American Gladiator tour of theaters where you show some of the craziest clips from the show. And you've got 6 of you on stage talking about the clips, answering questions, doing the meet and greet, the autograph signing. It would be crazy popular.
Mark, it's a no-brainer. It really is. It's a matter of having someone who's done that before, though, pull it together.
All right, we got to find something.
That's really what it comes down to.
There are plenty of promoters and agents out there.
It's a matter of finding the right one to do that. And I guess finding the right one that has the energy to do that and know and see the dollar signs towards the end of it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I'm on it.
Okay, good.
I watched every episode of Muscles and Mayhem. And for me, the most striking thing about it was that, especially early on, you're doing these really rough games, and there's no medical help anywhere.
None.
How in the world could that? I mean, today that would be unthinkable. How in the world? I mean,
I don't know. They got away with it, though. They got away with it. They definitely did.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask you was like, what were some of the worst injuries that you saw, or that you happened to you?
You sustained?
Honestly, the worst injuries that were out there were definitely the ACL tears in the knee. I mean, that's got to be one of the worst. I personally I got some nerve damage in my left arm from the human cannonball. That eventually went away. And then I had a small tear in my meniscus in my left knee, and that was from the pyramid. And I mean, but that's kind of like, okay, so I work through it. I got a cortisone shot in it. It's just like, okay, it's not an ACL tear, but I can work through this. So that's for me. And I always said this, even in my interviews, some of the girls would come out and they'd be like, I trained for a year to kick your ass. I'd be like, okay, I'd laugh. And for me, it's like, win or lose, I still get paid. So if I felt like I was putting myself in a position to get hurt, my ego wasn't that big. I was just like, go right ahead, because I need to sustain and I need to keep my body healthy. So if some of the girls came at us too hard, I was just kind of like, okay, well, we're just going to let this one go.
I know we're kind of into the show right now, but just to rewind a little bit, before joining American Gladiators, you were a bodybuilder, entering competitions and doing fairly well. You were into fitness. You looked chiseled and fantastic and beautiful, and just you had the whole package going on. And you did it. You were just a stunning piece of physical
I would say the same thing to you, Lori, but my wife would be very angry.
I'm not married, so I can say this.
Thank you.
Just give me one of those looks. Yeah.
Exactly. But you're married, so it's okay. You're human.
Try convincing her of that.
So, I did read where, you auditioned for Gladiators and you looked around the room and you were like, my God, there are women here who are much bigger than me and much stronger. But your package got on the show. So you were looking really fit and strong going into American Gladiators. Were you physically ready for the physical one-on-one that the Gladiators provided, which is different from being a bodybuilder and sculpting?
But you were an athlete. You were a multi-sport athlete.
I was going to say, I was a multi-sport athlete. So I looked at the tryouts as like literally a lot of fun. And I knew that most of those girls were all bodybuilders. They weren't athletes. So I had an advantage against them. I could move and I knew they couldn't, or if they did, they were a little slower than me, type of situation. And you're absolutely right, Mark. It was about the package. They were looking for the package at the time. And I want to say that I was prepared, to actually have that. However, there was a small part of that there was maybe a small little part that I might not have made the show because of the fact that I was bodybuilding and I was chiseled. So it made me look hard, and they really needed to soften me up in order to, kind of present me to the general public.
Really?
So I realized that I had to, look back in the day. I had the 80s perm,
right.
that everybody had the 80s perm. But yeah, I had to definitely soften my look to go on to the show. So there was
how did you do that?
Through just honestly a little bit of makeup. What happened was they were hiring a new makeup artist for the show. And that was when I was trying out too. And I went through all the tryouts and I was down to the last wire of 2 to 3 girls. And when they were bringing on a makeup artist, they told this makeup artist, hey, if you can soften her look, we're going to hire you. And we're also going to hire her. So through makeup, through hair, the whole thing, that's how they did that. They softened my look up a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's, you can, I guess the question I'm asking, even though you were a multi-sport athlete, it wasn't, were you an athlete of high contact sports? And if not, when you got into your first events, that was high contact. Like every event had something hitting you.
Well, and let's put it this way. Maybe I prepared myself when I was around 10 to 12 years old. And what I say about that is I used to go next door to my neighbor's house, and there was just a bunch of kids, all of our age on the block, which was really nice. And it was a mixture of mainly boys and just a couple girls. We used to play tackle football in the yard, when I was 10 and 12 years old. So the contact didn't bother me because I kind of got used to that. And then if you think about it, I played all high school varsity sports. I played softball, volleyball, basketball. You don't think of those as contact sports, but they can be.
Basketball,
if I'm a catcher, which I played catcher and third base, you're having somebody slam right into you at home base, either full blown or they're sliding, or they're going to try to take you out somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So the contact didn't bother me at all.
I get that. I just had nose surgery 3 weeks ago from a deviated septum in college basketball, and I didn't know that I got whacked, and for 40 something years I haven't breathed too well, but I just thought everybody had a problem breathing. I didn't know my septum was like sideways, But yeah, there's a lot a lot of contact. But some of those events on the program,
you had a Pete Rose running after you, and you were Ray Fosse. That's
yeah. They were just brutal. I wanted to actually talk about some of the events. So they always talk about assault, which was a fun event, but you as a gladiator were not really in any kind of physical danger with that, except for the little darts.
Everybody loved that event because, I mean, think about it. Everybody wants to shoot a tennis ball at somebody at 120 miles an hour.
I always thought they could have ramped that up by making it paintballs.
That would have been fun.
Was
That would have been
paintball even a
fun.
thing? Was that even a thing?
I
back
don't
then?
think so.
I don't think so. But if we
Mm-mm.
do a reboot today, we're using paintballs. That's
I
another
mean,
one.
that would be a great idea because what they could possibly do is in the arena, put something up to where the paintballs are obviously water soluble. So you could just spray down, like, let's say, you know, the surrounding arena. So where when you did miss the person, it'd shoot off of something. But that's a great idea because then there's no question whatsoever when you hit someone.
Right.
It just
Exactly.
splatters. That's a great idea.
You could have red paintballs, and the contenders would be dressed in white. So
there you go. Oh, that'd be awesome.
And then like the comedian Gallagher or whatever, he would hit the watermelons and it would spray all over the crowd. Yep. You would have the first 5 rows of the crowd with plastic sheets ducking because any stray paintballs would splash into. That'd be so much fun.
My God, you might be onto something.
Well, Mark is quite the idea man.
I like that.
Now, I mean, I'm really shocked that there hasn't been a reboot.
I think it's happening as we speak.
Wow.
I really do. I know that the UK already started their 3rd reboot. Wow. I know Australia started their 3rd reboot, and I think we're following right behind them. I know that the Vince McMahon from WWF was supposed to take it over last year. As a matter of fact, he just got in trouble, and so he got booted out. Dumbass. But yeah, exactly. I think he was part of the whole Me Too movement. But you know, it's interesting because I was excited for him to take over Gladiators. To be honest with you.
Oh my gosh, yes, yeah.
I was excited because just think about the girls that he would hire. They would be true gladiator girls. I mean, you know, his wrestlers are gorgeous. So the only thing that we were kind of concerned about with Vince McMahon taking it over is hopefully he wouldn't go over the top. You know, he's a very over the top kind of guy.
And make it fake, you mean?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. Right. Not necessarily make it fake, but like, for instance, I could see this. Let's say the event was real, but then after the event, I could see him going, all right, we need some serious conflict, you know, and they would show like the gladiators in the contender's face and they'd stage all that, you know, is basically.
That's part of a question I had for you. With the original show, was that taped live?
No.
So you had a chance to redo an event.
No, we never redid anything.
Okay.
No.
So if a prop fell over or whatever, you wouldn't say stop.
Well, they could just edit anything. Yeah.
They can edit anything, but it's like the one thing, the difference between our version, the original version versus the 208 version that NBC came in. Like, here's a prime example. Gina Carano was actually jousting another girl. And when she hit her, the joust actually broke. Now, that would have made great TV, right? Because it's Gina Carano. She's an MMA fighter. How cool is that? But what they did is they stopped the event. They didn't know what to do. They actually put a new joust stick in and said, okay, we're going to start this whole thing over.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Why would you do that?
That's what I would worry about with a reboot with a Vince McMahon or something where they would, if it wasn't quite drama enough, they would say, let's redo this and let, you know.
Yeah,
and
they can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the heart and soul of the American Gladiators was that it was real.
Right.
You know, was it that was that weekend warrior to where it's like, we were the big gladiator, you know, kind of like, you know, we were the obstacles. And then anybody could try out to come on our show and let's see who the best of the best is to go against the gladiators. Now it wouldn't have made good TV if they would have constantly went cut, let's redo that one. No, what you saw was 100% real. We didn't do it live, but yet it was live enough to where we never redid an event. If anything went wrong, it didn't matter. We continued.
Because it flowed.
Yes.
You could tell that whatever the event was, it was almost impossible to cut it in such a way that you wouldn't be able to tell that this is
absolutely
happening.
If somebody's harness, if somebody's harness broke or the assault gun broke or something like that, they filmed it. It was real. It was live, so there was never any stopping.
I was always watching for like, oh my gosh, someone's going to die in this event.
And that's why people watched it.
Lori, one of the things I noticed about in Muscles and Mayhem, it really did seem, and I'm sure it was true, that the male gladiators and the female gladiators were on equal footing.
We were.
So you always felt that way? There was never any kind of sexism or anything?
Nothing.
Oh,
never.
That's awesome.
No, I mean, and that was like, we were kind of we were ahead of the times. Let's put it that way. I always said that we were ahead of our time in reality shows. Obviously, we were the beginning of the reality shows. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many shows that came off of our show, Ninja Warrior, Wipeout, the list goes on, the Titan games, and all of those. Think about it. If Gladiators never happened, I highly doubt those shows would have ever happened.
Because they would not have. Yeah.
No, American Ninja Warrior was just one big, huge eliminator. If you look at it.
Exactly. Yeah. and probably a ton of, or half the programming on Nickelodeon with kids and all the crazy stunt things they did on that network.
Oh, absolutely.
It was just all based on these events of such. And getting back to the events a little bit, I think Joust was probably the most popular event with the
that and Powerball.
Powerball was crazy. Which event did you enjoy
Powerball
the most? Powerball?
All day long. I got to tackle. Remember, I started tackling when I was 10 years old. So now I got paid to tackle. I was like, yes.
I like the with Joust. But what I would do to change it again today is I would put it on a long, almost like a wide parallel beam in the Olympics. So you could actually move up to a contender who was afraid to get close to you and just bash the heck out of them until they fell off the back end.
Yeah, but you got to think about that for a minute, because then what would happen is I think the frustration would come into play when people were jousting. If they couldn't joust them, they'd get frustrated and just probably try to push them off.
Well, yeah, I guess in some ways you're right there. I used to watch some of the contenders kind of lean back on the pedestal and stay away from the the contact, and I was like, get up there,
yeah,
take it.
I've got a question. Who would you say was the one challenger that concerned you the most? Someone who was bigger than you, or someone who was faster than you?
Bigger, because faster. The only thing they could do in those games that were faster is possibly Powerball, but I have learned to watch their hips, watch their head, because the head, wherever the head goes, the body follows.
Oh,
so I would, exactly. I would definitely. So when they're fast like that, that's okay. I'll give them that, but it's more of a challenge to me. So that's fun. But when they're bigger, which was Peggy Odita, 5'9", weighing 185, I mean, it's kind of hard to compete against that in certain games because of the fact that she was just that much bigger and stronger. I mean, it wasn't even like any kind of technical thing. Like when she was in the joust, not in the joust, but in the joust. Honestly, in the joust, I wasn't concerned about her on the joust because again, it takes one good hit to the head to knock them kind of knock them off balance. But like in the Conquer ring, the wrestling ring, I mean, she was so much stronger than me that she could just literally kind of grab my leg and either pull me out or push me ahead, kind of thing.
But something like the human cannonball, I mean, that was
forget about that.
that was a brutal.
It scared me just watching that.
I know, exactly. So I mean, that's kind of I hated that game.
Your experience with the show then, as you came in 13 episodes into the first season and second season, you were very popular, obviously a very popular gladiator. And then at the end of the 92 season, they just said, there's a bunch of you that we're just getting rid of. It
wasn't so much there was a bunch of us getting rid of. There was 4 of us, which we should have had the whole team. but 4 of us held out for merchandising rights for the, we just wanted a piece of the merchandising rights.
Oh, that's right. Those small little figures that you had.
Yeah. But it wasn't just the small figures. We were on lunch pail boxes. We had Nintendo games. We had, you name it, they had it. There's so much merchandise out there. And in the very first 1 or 2 episodes, one of the producers actually says on Muscles and Mayhem, oh yeah, we made millions off of, the merchandising. And then in episode, I don't know, like 4 or 5, another producer came on and said, well, there wasn't really that much money in merchandising when we knew that they had just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Mattel Toys.
That actually enraged me when I saw that, the fact that they treated you so badly in that respect. They could have they could have been fairer. They could have been much fairer with you and still ripped you off. And they didn't.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's kind of like, if you're going to bend me over, at least take me to dinner first.
I'll keep that in mind.
That's so funny. Absolutely. But was that part of the contract that you signed though in the small print that you were not?
And that's the hard thing about it is, and it really sucks because Julie Rush, one of the producers, came on and she even said, she goes, well, they signed their contract, and it's like, but here's the problem. Yeah, we signed the contract because if we didn't sign the contract, we would have never had the job.
Right.
And they always held that over our head. They were like, if you don't sign it, we have, a line of people that want your job. Yeah. So we also didn't realize at the time when we signed our contracts, there was no merchandising. There was no toys. We didn't know how big the show was going to go. We had no idea.
Right.
So it was kind of an unfair contract. And it was unfair for even Julie to even say that, well, they signed the contract. Well, we had no idea what type of show and how big it was going to get.
None of you had agents, right?
Oh, no, we had agents, but it didn't matter.
You mean they didn't matter? They didn't know either? They weren't savvy enough?
Yeah,
well no, because if you think about it, when we first started the show, I mean, nobody even thought it was going to actually last or even... they didn't even think it was going to get past exactly. They're like, is it going to make it to 21 episodes, kind of thing.
David, it's like you and I, when I signed you up to do material issues, I have no idea where merchandising might go in the future. And you signed the contract. So,
No contract.
Well, no. And that, I mean, unlike today, in today's world, if you were a very popular American Gladiator and this was happening today, this would be lawsuits and you'd renegotiate and all the contracts would be redone. But back in those days, it was very much you signed the contract, and it was what it was. Yeah.
Think of it this way as well. It's interesting because with all the streaming, now like we have a channel on Pluto. On Pluto TV, there's an American Gladiator channel to where it plays nothing but American Gladiator shows all day, all night, everything. Wow. And we had to go to our union, and this was literally just 3 years ago. We had to go to our union and go, hello, where's our residuals?
Right.
And they were like, what are you talking about? It wasn't in your contract. Well, how could it be in our contract 25, 30 years ago when it wasn't even, streaming wasn't even a thought? So you can't do that to us, so there's a lot of, and I understand why now, there's the writer strike and everything like that. And they're trying to protect a lot of the actors and everything from this whole AI thing, which is, it's huge. Thank God they are fighting for it, because that could put so many people out of work, so many artists out of work, music industry artists. I mean, acting artists, you name it. AI can take them out like that. Writers. I mean, there's a couple programs right now. You just actually type in hey, what would be a great podcast subject? And boom, AI will come up with a list of 8 or 10 podcasts for you.
Yes.
It's insane.
Everything to do with the arts.
They could create something where you're jousting with Jack Dempsey. So
yeah.
That could be fun.
Instead of American Gladiators, it would be AI Gladiators, right?
Yeah.
Oh Lord. You better get in on the ground floor of that.
I know.
Lori.
So,
well,
I mean, as a huge music lover, I've been hearing AI the Beach Boys are my favorite band, and I've been hearing AI versions of some of their songs. And yeah, it's pretty incredible. But on the other hand, it kind of creeps me out.
Yeah, if you don't know about it and you listen to it, it's awesome, but if you know about it, you're like, whoa, this is trippy.
No, but just the, the implications of it all, which is,
we're just all going to be replaced.
People. Yeah.
David, we're just going to be replaced with machines. And we should have known that the minute that the supermarkets took out all their checkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Well, but here's the beauty of it all. All the arts are going to be replaced with AI, and then we're going to replace all the viewers, which would be us, with AI. So we all go back to actually listening to albums, reading books, and talking to each other, and everything resets.
That's pretty much what would probably have to happen. Yeah.
Now, here's a serious question. If there was a reboot in this political climate, if there was a reboot, would there be some trans people wanting to compete? You don't think there would at all?
No, I would hope that they'd vote against it.
But could they? Could they?
They could, but
would there be an issue with?
It'd be a huge issue. It wouldn't be fair at all whatsoever. I'm a huge advocate about not having any trans people in any women's sports whatsoever. It's unfair. I don't care what the trans community says about, well, they're the same. No, they're not. No.
I agree.
I have a personal story, and that is when we're on tour, as a matter of fact, there was a lot of publicity, a lot of, PR that we had to do. And there was a DJ, and he was a smaller dude. He was actually kind of my size, as a matter of fact. He's like, I want to joust you. Let's just do it for fun, and we'll do it for PR and everything else. Well, he got up there and he decided that he didn't want to do it for fun. And he literally he just whacked the bam. And he hit me. And I had never, ever, from all my contestants, Peggy Odita, 185, 5'9", she didn't hit me as hard as that boy did.
And he's just a normal size guy, is what you're saying.
My size, normal size guy. He was probably like 5'8", maybe weighing 165 pounds. Just naturally, he was stronger.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be the biggest mistake in the world to even consider, or even remotely think that would be a possibility.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
But in this political climate, though, somebody with a body like mine can say, well, wait a minute, this isn't fair.
Here's the thing. If they want to have the transgenders into, the American Gladiators, have a transgender American Gladiator show.
Right.
Yeah.
If they want to compete in sports, they need to have their own league. Sorry. It's just the way it is. It's not fair across the board. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I almost want to stop apologizing for that, because I'm very passionate and very adamant about that, because I'm a female in sports. Mm-hmm. And I know how hard I have worked to get where I'm at. And so, in this political climate, I don't know, but I actually heard somebody from the UK. I heard an interview and I almost fell over in my chair when they said, we need to have transgenders in the Gladiators over in the UK. And all of a sudden, the funny thing is everybody on the podcast went silent.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Nobody responded. Nobody. And after like about 10 to 15 seconds of silence, uncomfortable silence, they went, so, okay, that's our show for today.
Well, to follow up with that, what are your feelings outside of transgender? What are your feelings about, especially in high school, females in competing in the male sport, or vice versa?
Here's the thing: they couldn't even compete, because I don't think that. Okay.
Well, it's interesting.
So what you're saying is, what you're asking me is, if there's a male sports team, right?
Mm-hmm,
Let's say baseball. We'll take baseball. And then, are you saying the female is a transgender female?
No, we're just saying
a non-transgender, a biological female.
Biological female,
male sport.
Didn't we already go through this though? Didn't we already go through the girls trying to play football and the girls trying to play on the males baseball team? They can't compete. We're just not as strong. We're not as strong. We're not as it's not going to happen.
One of the reasons I asked that is
Only in bowling.
Bowling.
Only in bowling.
No, I mean they've had
yeah, sure.
They've had players from the WPBA get in pro tournaments with the men. Some of them have. One actually won about 10 years ago.
Hey,
but isn't competition supposed to be kind of across the board in a fair type of competition? So men against men, women against women, and it really doesn't matter what the sport is.
Right.
Bowling, whether it be bowling, football, baseball. I mean, competition should be on an equal playing level, kind of situation. So, I mean, I don't think women should go into men's either. Yeah. Stay with the women.
The reason I bring it up, I'm involved with the local high school here. I do a lot of the PA announcing for games and things, but I've done wrestling events. And here in South Jersey, girls can go out, compete, and be on the boys wrestling
men's team. So are they making it? Are they making the team?
They're not only making it, they are doing okay. And here's my thing with it. You say you have a 112-pound weight class, and you have John blah 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 from this team, and then this is Lisa whatever. To watch the male wrestling against a female, he's obviously extremely uncomfortable with where he can put his hands.
100%
is natural. I mean, I would be the same way. I was uncomfortable in junior high when I was forced to wrestle, putting my hands on another guy in certain areas, let alone what would be acceptable. And I find it just uncomfortable. And I saw a girl beat a boy in that low weight class because he really seemed to be uncomfortable with what he was doing, and she pinned him. And she was strong.
It could have been possibly even his upbringing, his upbringing of, you need to respect women. You can't touch women in a certain area. You can't, I mean, if his upbringing is like that, of course, he's going to be super uncomfortable with the situation. Yeah. And I know when you said different positions for wrestling, don't they go kind of up between the legs sometime and grab on the ass? And, yeah, exactly.
And to watch her go between his legs.
Yeah, that would be very uncomfortable.
Not that my mind goes to these things, but it's just natural.
We're sexual human beings. We're very sexual human beings. It's just the way we think. It's the way we are. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you feel uncomfortable in any certain situation, it's uncomfortable for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that dovetails, of course, nicely with the question you've been asked 8 billion times. What was going on between the gladiators?
When? What part?
Whatever part you want to talk about.
Oh God, there was I personally was never involved with any of the gladiators. Some of the gladiators on tour, as we all know, Laser and Zap hooked up for a little while. And I gotta be honest, I think those are the only two that actually hooked up between the gladiators. I never personally hooked up with any of them. Now, anything else between the gladiators, competition-wise, I mean, the gladiator girls, we're always super competitive with one another. And I think the guys were too, obviously. The guys were very competitive. And I think the show made us competitive with one another because of the fact that the only time it came to competitiveness was who got the personal appearance. Who got that television show outside of American Gladiators?
Right.
Because we were all competing for, personal appearances and television shows. And so that's where the competition came in.
But you all did act though, didn't you?
We all kind of did. I mean, some of us didn't. I don't think Blaze or Jazz or who else was there? I don't think Lace did anything. There was a handful that actually didn't do any acting at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, during the season, you shot for about 13 weeks.
Yeah.
Correct. During the TV season. So you had 39 weeks that you weren't shooting.
No. We filmed about a month and a half out of the year, and that was it. So we filmed 21 episodes.
2 episodes
in a month and a half.
Wow.
There you go. 2.5 episodes a day.
Okay.
Yep.
And they weren't paying you a lot of money based on what, Muscles of Mayhem and things I've seen online. You weren't making that much.
Which is why I have a Patreon account.
For all things
All
Lori,
right.
go to lorifetrick.com and make sure you
Go
subscribe
to patreon.com/chillin' with ice.
Chillin' with Ice. But
It-
that's great. I love it. And
you like
Chillin' with
that
Ice
plug?
is fantastic. If people will go to that podcast, I guarantee you're gonna enjoy it because number one, you're engaging, Lori,
Thank
but
you.
your
Thank
guests
you.
are engaging as well. It's a lot
And
of fun.
I'll take you out to lunch without even bending you over. How's that?
Aw, David, thank you. That's so sweet of you.
But what were you doing out if you weren't allowed to capitalize on the American Gladiator name and likeness and everything outside of the show?
Mhm.
What were you doing to subsidize your lifestyle?
Make money.
Make money. Yeah, make money.
Just a little bit of porn here and there, but no, I'm kidding.
Man, where's
We,
I thought I'd seen them all, and I
Right, exactly. You're like,
look
I've
at
never
David
seen her.
Googling. He's Googling right now.
Exactly.
Right.
He's like, no, I got my real estate license. So I was a realtor. I actually opened up a tanning salon that I owned for about 4 or 5 years in Orlando, Florida. I've owned a business. I had my gym, which was a Better Bodies downtown gym in Orlando, Florida as well. My tanning salon was South Beach Tan right here in Studio City. And so I opened businesses, run them for about 4 or 5 years, get them to the top, and then I would turn around and sell them.
Right. Yeah.
So I had an absolute blast doing that. So, and like I said, went into real estate for a little bit, went into, believe it or not, selling insurance, which was a lot of fun. Not really, but made a lot of money.
Did people often recognize you?
They did in a way, but it was more like, God, you look really familiar. Where do I know you from? You know, kind of thing. And that was especially when I was doing real estate, you know.
then you tackled them and said,
yeah,
remember me now?
And body slam them and, you know, it was all over. But no, I'm an entrepreneur, constantly,
Right.
you know, looking for different opportunities, opening businesses. So therefore, it's kind of like when I knew the documentary was coming around, it was like, okay, so we're going to do the Chillin' with Ice podcast. I'm going out. We're going to do some public speaking. So now we're, you know, trying to schedule those type of situations for public speaking, any kind of events, corporations, Comic-Con. So constantly, you know, I'm hustling. Mark, I'm out there hustling my ass off is what I'm doing.
You are a hustler. You are a hustler. And I think that, you know, part of the whole, what keeps you very young looking, your physical fitness and the fact that you are engaging and involved in your hustling. And it's just fantastic with everything.
Thank you.
And you wrote a book in between all of that too.
That book kind of needs to go away. That was a long time ago. Long time ago. As a matter of fact, I remember I wrote that book and I met the gentleman on a plane ride, and he was a psychologist and also an author and a writer. And we were talking, and he goes, "We should write a book together." You know, body meets mind, kind of, you know, psychologist / fitness expert. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea. And we worked on it for probably a good solid year. And then we got it published, and I was proud of it. It was fun. But it's interesting because it looks as though that probably in the next 30 days, I'm going to be collaborating and writing another book. So this will,
nice.
it should be a lot of fun.
Wonderful.
Is this a positivity type book? Be all that you could be type of what is it?
No, the positivity, motivational, inspirational, those are all in my public speaking type of, you know, you can do, you know, that innermost unbreakable spirit basically is.
I think you need to write you need to do a comic book all based on American Gladiators and your experiences.
That would be happening if the show was on now. There's no doubt about it. They would explore every angle. Yeah.
I was going to say the creator, obviously, the owner of the American Gladiators, you know, the actual owner of the American Gladiators name, he has the rights to pretty much everything that has to do with that logo. And that's cartoons, comic books, television, movies, you name it. He's wrapped around it. So the comic book would be hard to do. However, I can do a book about me, my life, fitness, where I've come. Not necessarily an autobiography. I don't want to do that, but I want to collaborate. There's a doctor that I'm speaking with, and he's awesome. He's amazing. So we
Mhm.
want to really kind of tackle the whole women's, fitness, mental health, physical health, and we want to tackle that genre. So it'd be a lot of fun.
Wonderful.
Are
I
you
think
are you still working out regularly? And if so, what's your routine?
Absolutely. I'm in the gym at least 4 days a week, minimum. Minimum
Wow.
4 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I try to do 30 minutes of cardio beforehand just now for my heart reasons. And I lift heavy. I do. And now it's interesting. I'm still doing it for appearance wise, but I'm also doing it now more like health wise.
Right.
So when you're lifting weights, it helps with your bone density, especially if you're lifting heavy. And obviously the cardio, I'm doing that for my, the healthy heart,
Right.
type of thing. But so, yeah, it's a 50-50 kind of thing now, to where before it was just generally all about how I looked. And now
Mhm.
I'm getting older. It's like, nah, I want to live to be about 90. So therefore let's kick this up a little bit and get that health going.
Well,
Well,
let me tell you something, Lori. This is kind of personal for me, but
Go ahead.
I've had weight issues all my life, but up and down like a yo-yo. And in 2015, I had a heart attack that almost killed me.
Uh-oh.
And once that happened, people were telling me, just listen to what your doctor said. And I took it really seriously. And at the time, I lost 70 pounds in about 5 months. And
There
I
you
was
have
working
it.
out. I was doing cardiac rehab. So I was doing the bike and the treadmill, at least 3 days a week. I was walking every day. And, I was very diligent for a year and a half. And, then some things happened in my life and I lost my motivation. And now I've put on most of the weight again. And I really need to get, I had a second heart attack, which was very mild, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
But I really need to I need to get back into it. And
So, David, let me ask you this question.
yeah.
Was that second heart attack not an eye opener enough for you?
No, because it was very mild. And
Oh, I see. So it had to be almost a death sentence before that you were going to actually do anything about
well,
it.
I think because I was in such I think I was in such shock after it happened that I never really came to terms emotionally with what it meant. And I was just in sort of a robotic mode. And it's like anything people told me, I did.
Mhm.
And in that mode, it was very, very easy for me to just stay motivated. It really was not hard at all.
Well,
And
there's
it's
something
just
that we
become
call
hard.
from pain to pleasure.
Pardon?
There's something that we call from pain to pleasure,
Yeah.
meaning sometimes you have to hit a pain, and that pain's got to be deep in order
Yeah.
for you to do anything, to move and to change whatever needs to be changed. And so when you hit that point, I mean, what you're describing right now is what a lot of people describe that come to me for any type of fitness or nutrition. Either A, they had a heart attack or something serious happened with their health, or B, they're getting divorced. And now, we got to go back on the market again after this. There is a pain that we feel in order to do something about ourselves. And unfortunately, that's how we are as human beings. And what I try to do is I try to reach those people before they hit that pain, because of the fact that you don't want to have a heart attack before your eyes open up and go, wow, I really kind of need to do something here.
Right.
Because some people might not make it through that heart attack.
I was very lucky that I did, apparently.
Yeah.
So, David, I'm trying to encourage you to now take a look at your life and take a look at yourself and to do something about that before the third heart attack comes and maybe takes you out.
Yeah.
And do you have grandkids?
Pardon?
Do you have grandkids, kids?
We have no children at all.
So. Oh, that's not good. You need something. Do you have animals? You got a wife.
We have a couple
of
cats.
You have a wife.
I have a couple of cats and a wife.
You have a wife.
Okay. You have a wife. Okay. So I'm going to use
do.
your wife for a second. You don't want to leave your wife behind without you.
No, I think about that a lot, believe me.
Okay. Then you need to stop thinking about it and you need to do something about it now.
Mm-hmm.
There's your podcast.
There you
little
go.
encouragement for the day.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Can I
Because-
clue you in on something, though? David and I joke around a lot, but I need to let you know that in various episodes of Material Issues, he does rate the best ketchup potato chips.
All right, this is weird. I go to Canada every year for my music festival. In fact, we're going to Vancouver next week. They have ketchup flavored potato chips in Canada. They don't have them here. I am so addicted to those things. And Mark ordered a bunch from Canada and sent me a box.
Yeah, I do send them to him.
Mark, stop enabling him.
I'm an enabler. I am an enabler. I admit
Stop
it.
doing that. Stop.
Lori, I want to do something fun with you if you would
Okay.
entertain me a little bit. I've set up a bracket on the male side of the American Gladiators and on the female side, because the Gladiators never went against each other. It was always Gladiators versus the Contenders.
Correct.
And these are just kind of random. And I would like you to tell me, when I give you the two in the bracket, who of that Gladiator would win. And then we'll move on through the brackets.
Okay.
You know, and just for fun. So if it's Nitro versus Malibu.
Oh, Nitro all day.
That's what I thought, but that's an easy one.
Malibu's he's not a good athlete. Go ahead.
All right. Gemini taking on Thunder.
Thunder.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go Thunder.
What game are we talking about here?
Yeah, what game are we talking?
Just overall. Like if they were doing 5 events, like the 5 top best events.
Well, see, and that's a great matchup though, because Thunder's definitely, he was bigger than Gemini, but they're both kind of slow, because both of them so big, they're kind of clunky. But I don't know. Thunder's a pretty damn good athlete.
Okay, so you're going with Thunder.
I'm going to go with Thunder.
All right. How about Turbo versus Laser?
Ooh. That's another good matchup. Laser would take Turbo in the joust all day long. They're both pretty equal in Powerball, but I'm going to go with Turbo and Powerball. He was kind of he didn't care how he took him out. That's a good one, Mark. I don't know. They're so equally matched.
One of them really has to win. But, who do you think?
I'm gonna go with Laser. I'm gonna go with Laser. He's my boy.
Laser over Turbo. All right. And in the final of the first round, you've got Tower versus Hawk.
Hawk.
Wow.
Hawk. Yep.
I did not expect. I thought Tower would be your answer there.
Right. Tower's big. He's strong, but I think that, to be honest with you, I think Hawk would have taken him out.
And Steve Henneberry, he was Tower. He was a great guest on your podcast too. That was a really good episode. That was a lot of fun. He seems like just a fun guy.
He's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's nice. All right, we move into round 2. So now we're looking at Nitro versus Thunder.
Nitro
moves on to the semifinals.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the bracket, Laser versus Hawk.
Laser. All day.
I was hoping Nitro and Laser would end up in the finals.
And now we're in the semifinals. Who wins the overall in the male? Is it Nitro, everybody's favorite, obviously, or Laser?
I'm gonna go with Laser still.
Laser with the upset.
I'm gonna go with Laser. I think that Laser could beat Nitro in a lot of those events. I just do.
So according to Lori Ice, who's got experience with all these people, Laser is the male American gladiator that would come out on top in a competition among gladiators. Wow, that's interesting. That's
exactly.
Cool. All right. I want to go to the female side here, and I'm going to start off.
I was hoping for that one.
Oh yeah, I'm going to start off.
Bias here. Hold on.
I know, right?
Place your bets now, everybody.
Place them now. Who's it going to be?
I'm going to start off with an easy one for you, though.
Okay.
Would you pick Ice or Gold?
Oh, I'd kick her ass all day long.
I thought so. I had you penciled in all the way through. I just thought we'd do
okay.
It. All right. Second bracket here. Blaze or Sky?
Blaze.
Blaze?
Yeah. She was a better athlete, I think.
Yeah,
She could move better.
No,
Sky
Blaze
was strong. Sky was strong. She had some good moves on her, but yet I still think that Blaze, being track and field athlete, she would take her. Yeah.
Somebody just chimed in with a comment. We know who this is. How about Bash versus Hershberger?
I would win a
God.
ketchup. I would win a ketchup potato chip eating contest.
Ketchup chip. All right.
That, I don't know.
Third round. I think I know who you'll go with here, but it could be wrong. Zap or Diamond? Does Zap take Zap?
Zap.
Yeah,
all
Zap.
day. Yeah.
All day.
Yep.
All day. You see what I'm going to.
I see where you're going.
You think you know where this is going. All right. And in the final of the first round, is it Siren or Storm?
Ooh, that's a good matchup too.
Yeah.
That's a very good matchup. Storm's kind of crazy, so she would go kind of cray on her. However, I don't know. I think maybe Siren might take her.
Siren? I thought you'd say Siren.
Yeah, I think Siren would take her.
That's cool. All right.
See, we should have done these. We should have had Gladiator against Gladiator.
Well, I was going to ask you, was that ever a thought?
No.
Wow.
I don't know if it was a thought. I have no idea. But we should have. What I was thinking, to be honest with you, is remember the international show?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we took our contenders over, and our contenders went against theirs. Blah blah blah. It should have been American Gladiators against UK Gladiators.
It should.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that was, and the thing, I can't believe they didn't do that. But when I interviewed Jet from the UK on my podcast, I asked her that question. She's kind of like cringed and went, "Oh my God," because we would have annihilated them.
That would have been cool. That would have it would have been. Yeah, it would have been awesome. All right, we're going into round two.
Okay.
This gladiator named Ice.
Okay.
Taking on Blaze.
All day. Ice would take her.
Right.
Ice would take her.
It's written in already. All right. And then the bottom half of the bracket, we've got Zap versus Siren. Oh, I thought this would be an all day as well, but
Zap. Yeah.
And you know where this is going. The all-time gladiator is Ice versus Zap. And if David and I had a vote, I think we would vote Ice right now. So
I think that
thumbs up. It's Gladiator.
However, we did joust together. There was one show that we did joust together, and I don't think either one of us went 100% because it was too weird.
Yes.
We were like jousting against one another, and it felt just too awkward, kind of awkward.
Yeah.
So we didn't do 100%, but she's a good she's a good gladiator, and she would give me a run for my money, and I know it. But if I was at the top of my game, I think we'd be a good equal match, but I think that I would still outbeat her.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do that. So overall, you heard it right. You heard it right from Ice herself. The overall best gladiator on the female bracket is Ice.
And we have a surprise. We have a surprise for you, Lori. We have Zap waiting in the studio.
Exactly. I was waiting for that, and she'd be like, "I don't think so."
She just left the studio. What the heck happened?
Exactly. I don't think so.
Overall, we've got Ice and we've got Laser. You couldn't have asked for two of the best gladiators to win in the Lori Fetrick bracket competition. That's amazing. I mean,
if they brought the show back, would you want to compete?
If my body would let me, I would do it all day long.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, I went out and played 18 holes of golf yesterday, and my lower back kind of hurts me. So I don't know.
Have you ever gone whitewater rafting? I did whitewater rafting not too long ago, and I was sore for about 3 weeks. I could barely walk.
Wow. I want to do that really bad.
It takes every muscle in your body for about an 8-hour trip down, whitewater and whatnot. And when you're done, you're just top to bottom completely.
Yeah, I honestly would, It would be so much fun to do that.
Yeah, I think you should try that. But I think a reboot of American Gladiators is something we've got to look for in the not too distant future. But
absolutely.
Lori, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us here in Material Issues.
Welcome.
This has been very eye-opening for me too, because
this was such a wonderful show.
I did not watch the show when it was on, but I watched Muscles and Mayhem, and I loved every minute of it.
Good.
And it's been great getting to know you.
Thank you. It was nice being on the show. I appreciate the invite.
And we want to make sure everybody knows LoriFetrick.com for all things Lori. Appearances, the Patreon site.
I know, right? Don't forget the Patreon.
Don't forget the Patreon site. And she's got the wonderful podcast, which can be found on all sorts of podcast sites. I subscribe on Podbean, Chilling with Ice. So make sure you go out there and subscribe to the podcast and support Lori. It's just been wonderful having you on the show this evening. Best of luck to you. Best wishes, happiness, health. And I hope everything works out best as it possibly can.
Maybe you and I will have that lunch. You're in Burbank. I'm in Reseda. Why not?
Hit me up, David, because we're going to talk about your nutrition.
Yes.
Now he's like, never mind. I don't want to have lunch with her.
No. I need motivation. I really do.
I want to encourage you.
And I can do it when I put my mind to it.
Good.
That I know.
Good. I want you to do that.
You work on his nutrition. I'm going to work on the American Gladiators bus tour. So we'll
thank you.
We'll definitely stay in touch, Lori. Have a super night. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
See you, Lori.
Bye.
Well, there you are, David. Episode number 117 with the fantastic Lori Fetrick.
Yeah, that was fun. She's really cool.
American Gladiators. Yeah, very cool. Very cool lady. Just what a career, a great career in and outside of television. Very motivated.
The whole thing's just so amazing that all the stuff that they didn't do, not having the doctors around until later, not being fair, not being fair, but being amazingly unfair to them in terms of merchandise and everything else. I mean, I guess they thought they were all expendable, and they made them. Unfortunately, the producers made them feel that way. It's like you don't want to play ball with us. There's plenty of other people who, I mean, these were people who were identifiable with the show. They really should have said, well, you know what? It's not a show without us. Yeah. They should have abandoned. Maybe they would have made some headway. Who knows?
It's interesting because you can understand her point of view is when it first started, nobody even thought it would even make the air, let alone do anything at all. So they were happy to get this relatively low-paying job.
Well, sure, yeah,
to do whatever, and then all of a sudden it starts doing very, very well, and the owners of the thing were making money hand over fist, and they were just loving the money, and there was nothing. They knew there was nothing the Gladiators could do to come back on them, and because like you said, they had a stable of hundreds of people who would love to be a gladiator.
But that's what they said. Now, what would have happened if everybody walked out? Yeah, they would have brought in new people. Maybe they wouldn't have worked. Maybe the chemistry wouldn't have been there. Maybe the show would have tanked.
Yeah, you don't know. And
in fact, they did. The ones who did quit, did get invited back a little later. At least a few of them did.
Yeah,
because I think they realized they needed them.
But what was sad when you watched Muscles and Mayhem, what was a little sad was early on with some of the gladiators who weren't making much money, got injured badly enough that they couldn't even return to the show.
Yeah.
So not only were they not making money, but now they've injured themselves to the point where they're not on the show, they're not making money, and they who knows what they did outside of the show with those kind of injuries. So it was a tough gig. I'll tell you, you watch some of those shows today, and it's just like, wow,
Now, if they do have a reboot, everybody's going to have a much more. They're going to have a much more self-protective contract.
Oh God, yeah,
no doubt about it. They'll have better lawyers. They'll have better agents. They'll have better everything. And there's certain things in this climate again that. You'll have to accommodate certain things for them. So it would
Sure.
be a lot better for sure.
It's interesting with the popularity of MMA and Ultimate Fighter and the cage fighters and things, which is a brutal sport. That's something like this, which is very real and very brutal in many ways. I think it would, you do a reboot the right way. You make it a Coliseum setting.
I can't. Yeah, I don't see why not. It seems like a no-brainer, as she said. So we'll see what
Well,
happens.
so much stuff gets rehashed because they seem to be out of ideas as far as good television is concerned.
That's right.
Or fun television. Might as well go back to a formula that works.
Sure.
It's interesting. But what a great interview. That was fun.
It was.
Yeah, she's you can tell why she's very good at public speaking. She's very engaging, and we enjoyed it. But yeah, and we got great stuff coming up, don't we?
Indeed, we do. Next week, we have another lady, a 23-year-old young lady named Abigail DeVoe. And I saw her I don't know how, sometimes on YouTube, you get redirected to things they think you'll like. Mm-hmm. You see them on in the side panel. And I saw her one of her Vinyl Monday episodes in the side panel. I watched it and I said, wow, this woman really knows her stuff. And she's talking on Vinyl Mondays. She talks about her love of classic rock albums and, a lot of Beatles albums, some Pink Floyd. She's done, Led Zeppelin. She's done all kinds of classic rock stuff. And she takes a deep dive into every one of them. And she knows stuff. She was enlightening me about a lot of things, even Beatle-wise. So she really knows her stuff. So I think she'll be a great, great guest. Her name's Abigail DeVoe, and she will be on next week on August 30th on Material Issues. Oh, an hour earlier to accommodate my schedule because I will be doing an interview on a Vancouver radio show a little bit after we would normally air. So we're moving an hour early. But we'll post about that.
Yep.
On the 6th, we don't have anyone, and maybe let's leave it open because we've got so many guests. But we'll see if somebody comes in and says I can do the 6th. I'm sure we'll give it to them. But on the 13th, Mark just got what an incredible get you had on the 13th.
Yeah, the 13th is cool. I just this is an iconic song that I heard from my 6th grade middle school or junior high days, and said, I wonder what this guy's doing. And I actually located his wife online, who runs a fan site, told her about our show and our love of all things 60s, 70s music wise, and would he be interested? And she said yes, because he'll be going out on tour and appearing in Branson, Missouri, where he used to have a theater. It's none other than Jim Stafford, who wrote Spiders and Snakes, top 10 hit with that. He had top 10 hit with Wildwood Weed. And then David and I always laugh about another big hit he had with My Girl Bill. And he's just a wonderful songwriter. Again, an engaging personality, just a very funny individual. I've seen many interviews.
Tell. I mean, if you watch his summer replacement show,
his summer variety show,
he was very engaging on that.
But Jim Stafford, at
the time,
And Spiders and Snakes has always stuck with me. That's one of those songs that just you hear it and takes you right back to a place in time.
It's got an amazing hook, and of course those lyrics. I'm not much of a lyrics person, but how do you not have them soak in? They're just
it's great.
They're just so fun and clever and cheeky and the whole bit. And of course, My Girl Bill, the punchline, shocked everybody at the time. If you haven't heard the song, I won't spoil it for you, but you should.
Yeah, go out and listen to it. Go out and listen to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wildwood Weed, like I said, I never heard.
Yeah.
My guess is that my station WABC banned it because of its subject matter.
Yeah. And it's funny that it banned everything. But it's funny, but we'll ask you about that song. But it made top 10, and it wasn't something that you heard that much. And to tell you the truth, it's not a sing-along song
No, not at
Spiders
all.
and Snakes, which was
Or,
the follow,
or even My Girl Bill for that.
or even My Girl
Well, the
Bill for that
chorus
matter.
is a sing along. The rest,
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's it's an interesting song. It's a good song, but he'll be a great guest. Looking forward to it. And then we finish up our guest run on the September 20th. For now, we're irons in the fire with another great guest that David's going to tell you about right now.
One of the most beloved names in the pop scene. One of the main men of the iconic pop band Jellyfish. Also one of the main men of Imperial Drag, TV Eyes, the Licorice Quartet, along with all kinds of releases on his own, including a brand new one on my favorite label, Omnivore Recordings, which combines his glamping EP with a new group of songs that he has, turning it into a full album. I should have brought it in with me, but I will next time. You already know that we're talking about Roger Joseph Manning Jr.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
He's always, I've known him for a while. Yeah, even you know what? I wonder, it made top 10 on Billboard, so some stations were playing the shit out of it. Yeah. It probably was number one on several. It's the kind of song where if the station didn't ban it, probably tons of people thought, yeah, a song about weed. Yeah, number one. So it probably was number one on tons of stations and not played at all on others. And that combined got it to number 7 on the charts. So, but yeah, it's like amazing. I've spoken to a lot of people who just never heard it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there were, and when we have Jim Stafford on, I'm sure there'll be people saying, yeah, I remember that song. Yeah. For sure. But anyway, so we're going to have Roger Manning on the 20th. And, he's a really, he's a fun guy, a very engaging person, very good interview. I'll actually never forget the last time he played IPO. He was in the middle of changing into his, he just was changing his shirt. So he did it kind of in the back of the club. And while he's doing it, the guy comes up to him with about 20 things to autograph. I mean, this is insane. And so he stopped changing. He didn't even put on his shirt. He's standing there with no shirt on, autographing this stuff. I was amazed. He didn't wait to put on a shirt. I was amazed that he didn't tell the guy, I mean, that's just too much. Yeah. I'll autograph like 3 things for you. No, he autographed every damn thing before he even put on his shirt.
Wait till I take my pants off first.
Yeah, right. That's the kind of guy he is. He's just a super guy.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, so we got a lot of things coming up. So make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe, materialissues.com, or here on Facebook, join the group. We come out with a posting Monday or Tuesday. We'll let you know exactly what's happening for that week's show. So if you're a member in the Facebook group or subscribed on YouTube, then you'll see those postings. We got a lot of great stuff coming up, and we always have things in the fire. So
definitely irons in the fire.
We're working on stuff all the time, and we have such a good time hanging out here and talking with people. This is show number 117. All the shows are archived too over here on Facebook and on YouTube. So
and tell your friends to join. One thing you and I need to do more of is get people to subscribe or get it to be, what do they call it on online when something is much more visible? I always forget that term. But we need to make the page more visible, because I was looking, for example, at Abby DeVoe's page, Vinyl Mondays, and she's got like 17,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Now, how is she doing that? I guess I could ask her. But like I said, she's this 23-year-old woman who's done fewer shows than I have, and somehow she's getting all these subscribers. So, and I think, and there are a lot of pages with tons of subscribers. What are they doing? It's obviously not that hard, but we're just not doing it. So,
I guess we got to figure out how to. We've never really just pushed it that hard.
No, we haven't. We're just having fun with this, but at the same time, it would be nice. I'm not. We're not even thinking about trying to make money from it. Just having subscribers so that more people are watching.
Well, plus, and the more subscribers we get, the more guests will be willing to say yes, because there's a bigger subscriber base. And
You mean because at one time one potential guest didn't like our numbers?
I have no recall of that whatsoever.
Because I've sent them to the cornfield. I'm sure he did that. So nobody knows his whereabouts right now.
So if anybody has ideas for spreading this, make sure you tell your friends and help us out. Get them to subscribe, Facebook or YouTube. It'd be great.
It really would.
But
however it works out, we're having tons of fun. We've had
indeed.
amazing guests, people we never thought, when we were growing up and admiring their music or whatever it was they did, we never would have thought that we'd be talking to them now. And
how about last week with Middle of the Road, man? Unbelievable.
The really cool thing about this is, this should be way more visible. Well, all right, tell us, Tim, how did you get 1,200? Did you do something online? Did you subscribe to some service? Again, I'm forgetting the term that they use to make your site more visible.
I
but
don't know.
my web guy Jerry would definitely know, and maybe, if you want to tell us in private or whatever, Tim, let us know how you even got to 1,200. And I think once you start getting the ball rolling, my guess is that it starts snowballing from there. But what I wanted to say about the guests is, it's amazing how so many of these people, like Middle of the Road, who had huge hits in Europe, they just can't believe anybody cares about them anymore. And you hear that from a lot of these people who had huge hits. Social media has definitely helped open eyes to people that there is still a core audience out there, but a lot of them don't do social media very often, and they just don't know. And we've heard it from so many of them. Like, even Steve Stevel said until there was a City Boy page, he thought everyone forgot about them. It's like, no, they didn't.
Right.
Once you get a page on social media and you get a bunch of subscribers, then at least you have some inkling that there are people out there. But man, I'll tell you, and the fact that we can, let these people know that there are quite a few people out there that still love them. That's very gratifying, for sure.
Yeah. And as you and I have both said, off camera, is we enjoy archiving a lot of the stories, especially from the acts from the 60s and early 70s that we've had, because people haven't really talked to them that much, in the last number of years. And it's wonderful to get their story in an archive video fashion that'll always be there, which is very cool. Tim says,
if I knew, I would tell you. Except maybe being a guest. Well, yeah, that's true.
And you have to talk about the Beatles.
Well, that certainly doesn't. Well, that's a good point, because Abigail talks about the Beatles quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, Ringo has yet to answer my email, so I don't know if
Paul hasn't answered mine either. So,
although we had Brian Ray on the show, that's about as close to a Beatle as you can get without being a Beatle.
That's pretty close. But we haven't pursued anything with them in Beatles groups and whatever. And obviously it's not just the Beatles, but there are people outside of the music arena who have podcasts that have tons of subscribers. And maybe they are talking about some iconic people more than we are. I don't know, but I think Tim is on to something with A, being a guest, and B, talking about the Beatles.
It really just takes having something or some entity with a lot of followers mention your
that helps
podcast
too,
or whatnot, and then all their followers go and subscribe because they trust the person's opinion on something. So
we do have a decent number of subscribers. We do have a decent number of subscribers on the Material Issues page, and I think we've pushed that a lot more than we have YouTube.
I'm
not sure if there's if there's a vehicle or avenue on YouTube to where you can tell people to subscribe. On Facebook, it's very easy. You just post on your own page and say, subscribe to the Material Issues channel. We never say the YouTube channel. You know what? Let's start with that. Let's post in Material Issues and just say subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's got to get us a few, right?
Yeah, materialissues.com.
We've got 1,600 or so subscribers to the Material Issues page. So just let's post a few times in there saying go to the YouTube page and subscribe. Couldn't hurt.
There you go. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, there you go. Let's make it happen. All right.
And with that, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you right back here next week with Abigail DeVoe.
Yes, and I will be
August 30th. Yeah,
I'll be in Vancouver at the same hotel I was last year. So we know that their Wi-Fi was decent enough last year. If you would work out a Stump the Bash. Actually, I'd love Abigail to stay around and see one of those. But I remember that was one that was the first one where I only got 14, where I was stumped. It was in Vancouver, and Rena was there, and I was so embarrassed. It's the first one she saw, and she saw me get stumped. You actually asked a baseball question, which pushed me over.
Yeah, no, I get it, Tim. I don't like to jump in on like his show and it's his thing and say, everybody here, please go subscribe over there.
Is that Steve Schnee? You're going to be on his show? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I get it, Tim. Yeah, maybe we could do a Bash Biv DeVoe trivia competition.
I'll have to find a Biv,
Bell Biv DeVoe. Bash Biv DeVoe.
I even remember the baseball question you asked me. Name all 9 starters on September 1st, 1971 for the Pirates, and I was able to do it. I think I got 1 point for each one, and I got them all. So that pushed me over the edge, but yeah. Anyway,
it's
looking
good.
Forward to Vancouver.
We'll do that. Yeah, looking forward to Vancouver. Matter of fact, he's in the exact same room. So all you women that he gave his room key to, it probably still works. So just go visit him.
Oh, I know it still works.
And with that, good night, everybody. We'll see you next week here on Material Issues.
Good night, everyone. Stay safe. Have a good week.
It's all